Hello, this is Evan,
Hi, I'm alone.
and we're going to do another debate for you, but this time on coffee. So on Kickstarter now, there's a project doing really, really well. It's raised $34,000. They were asking for 20. The company's called Mojo, right? Mojo?
Yep, Mojo.
Yep. And, well, it's a giant travel mug that makes coffee for you. And my friend here alone is a big coffee fan.
Big
and
lover
me,
of coffee.
not so much. I like teas, but I'm not the biggest one. I just like water and stuff like that. And, well, for him, this is like right up his...
I saw this video and I was like, amazing. Like, yes. And Evan saw this video and was like...
It's the size of my damn forearm. I'm not going to be able to carry it around. So that's where we're at right now, is he's in love with it. I think it's not stupid. It's a good idea. It's just like this long. It's literally the size of your forearm. I mean, look at this picture. It's the size of that girl's forearm. Like, come on. That's ridiculous. I mean, there is definitely some cool stuff to this. I mean, as me and Alon both agreed, it's cool that you just put it all together and you can just walk with it.
Yeah.
So that's nice. I mean, Alon here can definitely tell you why it's probably more for him than
So,
it is
like,
for me.
this product to me, I saw this and I was like, I could use this every day. I can't tell you how many times it's the morning. I'm like, I've gone to the gym. I'm coming back from the gym. I, like, eat something really quick. I shower really quick and I'm running out the door and then I'm like, oh, no. And then I say something I'm not going to say on this video. It's a curse word. Because, why? Because I forgot to make my coffee.
You know, coffees do come with timers. You can have a preset to go off at 6:30 in the morning.
They do, but what if, that you run a little over at the gym? What if you come back and it's, there's a lot of variables in there. If you don't want it first thing as you wake up, especially if, like me, you do stuff before you leave, you don't always leave it exactly the same time. Sometimes you want to be able to have that ability. So, for me, I forget to make the coffee, and then as I'm leaving, I'm like, oh no, my cup is empty, it doesn't have coffee in it. I have to wait another 10 minutes for it to brew. That's really frustrating. If I could just, put all the ingredients in the cup and take it with me in the car, brew it while I'm driving to work, oh, man. That would be so great. Oh, that would be so convenient.
Yeah, but it's the size of your forearm, so if you hit a bump, the thing's just going to fall right out and topple over.
No, it said that it's the same size as your average cup in
No.
the diameter-wise, so it'll fit in your cup.
Right, that's the issue, the length. So it's going to be much
matter?
higher. What it needs to do is go up and go more like that, so it's a much sturdier base. It doesn't have that. So that's definitely going to be an issue. Another issue is going to be it doesn't come with the battery. So it's right off the bat, it's $80, $79, and it's another $59, we'll call it $60 to make life easier because they're just doing that because it's stupid.
It's good marketing
to get this. So you're already at $140 before you've even done anything. If you want a portable. But if not, you have to remember to plug it into your car.
See, Evan,
plug
what
it
you
in
don't
at work.
understand is that
but if
people
you're that
spend a lot on coffee makers.
They do. But if you're that tired in the morning... No. This is just a coffee mug. This is not like an expert coffee maker.
This is a coffee maker, Evan.
No. It's a drip maker. It is a drip maker.
That's a coffee maker.
It is not grounding up the beans and doing all that for you.
Yeah, that's a coffee maker. That's exactly how coffee makers work.
I get that the drip makers, that's how they work.
Yeah.
But it's not ground the beans. You're putting your own beans into the filter.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it to grind the beans. You don't want any moving parts. Part of the appeal of this is that it's super simple. Grinding beans is not something a machine will generally... I mean, depending on the coffee maker, some of them do it, but that's not what you're looking for here. This is your on-the-go coffee. This is it's the morning, I'm tired, I have a million things on my head. All I have to do is put this coffee cup, put the stuff in the cup and take it in the car. I don't have to prepare ahead of time. I don't have to, make sure it's hot. I don't have to... It's not an issue. If you're traveling, it's just with you. You have all the ingredients. It's such a great idea.
But you don't have the ingredients. You said you have to remember to pour
you
stuff
have
in.
all the you pour it in.
Yeah, but in that same amount of time, if you forget about it, you can just throw a cup of coffee inside the microwave for 90 seconds, pour the water into a mug, and then add the water.
And that's how you know that Evan doesn't drink
coffee.
No.
But I'm saying then run it through the drip through, and it's the exact same effect because it's using the steam to absorb it. And then as it cools back down...
Microwave a cup of coffee?
No, the water, just to get it boiling.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just run it through the filter real quickly, and then there you go. You got yourself a drip cup. 90 seconds.
You know, I think that the freshness of the coffee is what's so special.
It's still going to be the same freshness.
It's not going to be this. What's the point of the microwave? I'm confused as to why you're.
It heats up the water. You heat it up, put a little thermometer in there. I'll show you about 200 degrees.
But why are you using a microwave to heat the water, not a heating element?
Because
to control to get it to that temperature that you want.
It does, but it only takes like 90 seconds, so you're good to go.
Oh, you're saying to speed up the coffee making process.
Right, because you're saying, I already forgot it.
You know, you can do that, but again, it takes a while for the coffee to brew. It doesn't always get, depending on there are different types of coffee makers, but if you're using a paper filter, the coffee will generally sit in the paper filter before it filters down to your cup, to your coffee maker. And so it's brewing. The brewing process itself, it's not just the heating. It's the whole brewing process takes more than a couple seconds, regardless of the heat. The water heats up pretty quickly generally. The heating element's pretty efficient. The biggest issue with coffee making generally is that coffee sits. So like with your average drip coffee, right? If you're in an office, right, and you want a coffee in the office, your coffee's going to take forever to be sitting there because someone else made it and then there were like 5 cups left and it just sits there. And what happens is it's on this like low heating element and it kind of gets like really like not so great. It doesn't taste as good. It's a little like it's lukewarm because the heating isn't working that well and it's like kind of concentrated but not in a good way. Right.
I get it settles.
You got like the settled issue and that's why you got the fresh coffee.
This first thing doesn't tell you if you look very closely. And I tried looking. Does not tell you how long it takes to heat up that water. So your 45-minute commute, it could take 25 minutes for to heat that all up.
I doubt it would take 25 minutes.
It's a small heating element.
I mean, I can't, without seeing the coffee mug.
And it's the size of your forearm. So, and then all together with the battery, if you get the battery, you're talking almost like 1.5 pounds you got to carry around. That's a fair amount of weight just to walk around with. Plus,
I hear what you're saying.
By the way, that's empty. You add 8.5 ounces of liquid, you're probably talking close to 2 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, you're right that it's imperfect. I'm not saying it's the perfect, like well thought out prototype. I think the idea is amazing.
The idea is there.
The idea is
I just don't think the practicality is there because
with this particular Kickstarter product,
it's giant. It really is giant. And then there's several key things I'm tell you. How long does it take to heat up the water? That's a big one. How much, and then how much cleaning is done. Actually, it does. I'm sorry. It does tell you how much cleaning is done. They come with something to clean it all out. So it is easy to maintain, according to them. But what's the reliability of this? Like, what's it made out of? Like, can I drop it and the heating element won't crack?
Those are all valid questions. But to me, they don't make this product not worthwhile. That's what says that this product is still in its prototyping phase and still figuring these things out. You're right. The size could be better. Everything could be smaller. It could be lighter. But the idea, a mobile coffee maker in a cup, oh my God, like as I'm driving, as I'm
had
in
that
the train.
in City Slickers in 1991. They showed that when he was out in the middle of nowhere in City Slickers, he pulled out the mobile coffee maker. Okay? No, it's just electric, grounds with the breeze, they heat up the water, and they run the water through it. So that's a nice, easy way to do it. There's very little, again, there's very little moving parts. So the idea of this isn't really new. No. It's the way it's being done is different.
It's a new application of technology.
And right off the bat, I forgot to mention, this company has done an unsuccessful Kickstarter before. Not holding that against them. It's just they've learned.
I've held an unsuccessful Kickstarter before.
and they're holding that. They're not holding that against them. In fact, I think it's actually helping them out. I think it drove them to do a lot better. But it's
very
the
professional campaign.
It's the whole $140 for a mug. Is just insane. And
now, what wasn't clear to me is if this mug comes with a built-in battery or not.
It does not.
Was a little bit ambiguous.
It does not.
Are you sure?
Yes, because that's the $60 extra. So what you get is a standard car charger or wall outlet.
So if it's plugged into the charger, then it can brew. But if it's not plugged in, then you need that battery.
Right.
Okay.
So that again at work, and it showed a very short cord that to me seemed like a little bit of a danger hazard because if someone's walking by your desk. Just from this image, they could hit that cord and then you have coffee spilled all over you.
Yeah, makes sense.
And again, inside your car is, I guess because it's kind of heavy, you don't really worry about the road balancing, but like turns and all that, it's going to be much taller than your normal cup holder will be. So when you do a turn, will it turn towards you and all that? I don't know. I think it needs to be flanged out a little bit more.
For more stability?
Yeah.
I think you have a lot of minor corrections I agree with, but I think that you don't have the fundamental appreciation of coffee that I do. When I open this can of coffee beans right here, I just I'm like, And when Evan smells it, look at what happens when Evan smells a can of coffee beans.
That just smells like crap.
See?
No,
That's what happens.
That's because that's really cheap.
I mean, this is not the best brand of coffee. That's
Also,
sure.
the other issue is, and this is just a general issue with Alone, is people like him like their coffee really dark, which means you're wasting a lot of caffeine on it. And by wasting a lot of caffeine is maybe 8.5 ounces of a lighter roast in this may be good for your morning. Whereas him, he's going to need probably 16 to 20 ounces, which means you have to do this twice, which is just so much work when you could just go brew it and get those 2 cups that you need all together at once.
But you could have your second cup. First of all, I think I've been cutting down lately. Down to a cup to a cup and a half a day right now. And I do agree with what you're saying that I think that 8.5 isn't the ideal liquid volume. I think you should aim for more like a 12 ounce.
If it was 12, but for 12 ounces it'd be like this long, it'd be like la, 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 la,
from the ground up to here.
Got a little strap, I gotta walk with it. Like, come on.
I mean, I hear you, but I think that the inherent value in this product is astronomical. I think that if you could refine this prototype that little bit further, and I think that's what the Kickstarter money is for. They say they need to do additional
for
prototyping.
small
they need to make it better. So, that's what they're talking about. And if they use this money, right? If they use the Kickstarter money to make a smaller cup, to make a internal battery, and to increase the amount of liquid that it holds.
No, they're not making an internal battery. They've already said that.
Well, I'm just saying if they did.
They already said they're not.
They're not?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the point of that external battery. But, so, let's just summarize this up real quickly for you.
Yeah, because we could keep going forever.
The good of this is it really is like the other on the market. There's some espresso makers and stuff like that that you can make. And there's portable coffee drip makers, but not all together as one. So, we both agreed that is definitely the cool idea.
It's an innovation.
The other good ideas, maybe Lone has more. That was the main thing I could think of. What else do you have that could be a good idea for this?
I think the portability. It's super portable.
God.
Evan's frustrated because it's imperfect, and it is. But I think that
no, it's not imperfect.
He's not familiar with the very, very immobile process of using a regular coffee maker.
I get that.
No flexibility.
I get that, but at 2
you gotta
pounds...
open my coffee maker is on the cabinet next to some books, and some water always spills on them as I'm putting the water in it.
So move your books.
And as I'm doing something else, it's always inconvenient to reach, and the lid sticks and whatever. It's a burdensome process when you're using these big machines, and even when you have these fancy ones, you're still they're not very mobile, and this is a super mobile solution.
I 100% get that, but it's not as mobile as you think it is. Weighing almost 2 pounds, that's as much as a coffee maker weighs. Mm-hmm. So that's it. Again, with the good,
sure.
There's always going to be bad, and the good being that it is portable. I will admit that it is portable. It is nice to be able to kind of have it brewing while you're driving or sitting at work all by yourself.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
Both agree on that. The bad being it is gigantic. It's the size of the girl's forearm in the video. It comes up to here, and that's insane. What are you supposed to do to carry that around? You see where the grip is and where the end is. That's insane. And on top of that, it is expensive. You can admit that.
It's expensive.
At $140 for basically a cup of coffee.
No, it's not for a cup of coffee.
No, it brews one cup of coffee.
It's for a coffee maker.
It brews one
coffee
cup.
Maker.
It brews 1 cup of coffee. So it is a 1 cup.
Continuously, though.
No, it only brews that one time. It doesn't tell you how long it takes, which is definitely a huge negative. Mm-hmm. So it could be quick. Probably not. Knowing the heating element inside, it's probably not the best just because, it can't be because of the size. And then, on top of that, the bad being is they don't include that battery. It's an extra $60.
Yeah.
And they kind of show it as having a battery. They even discuss it, but they don't put a little dot next to it saying not included. So, a little bit of false advertising there.
I don't know about false advertising. They're not being false about it.
It says it in the And so with that, my final verdict would be a 6.5 out of 10. Just because, it's just too big. It's really expensive. And it just doesn't brew that much coffee. It seems too much cumbersome. Plus, remember, you either had a battery or the plugs everywhere you go. And it's just annoying because you have to buy multiple plugs of all that. And so for that, I'm going to say 6.5 out of 10. With the potential that they can get some issues done before it gets released of an 8. And I also think manufacturing is going to be kind of a disaster for this. They're worried about a small heating element and everything. Anything go wrong, sensors go wrong, anything could be really, really disastrous. What would your final verdict be?
So my final verdict is going to be a little bit higher, I think, obviously. I'm going to go with an 8 with the potential to go up to a 9.5 if the small issues we discussed, i.e. battery being enclosed in the device, holding more liquid, and the smaller form factor can be addressed. I think it could go up to even a 9.5. I think the concept is fantastic. I think the idea is there, and could target such a tremendous market if this prototype is refined into exactly what it needs to be. I'm really excited to see what these guys come up with, and I'd love to test it out. If anyone's looking to buy me a present for my birthday or anything, this is definitely something I could be very interested in.
And with that, this has been Evan from Kickstarter.
And I'm alone.